Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to a mini episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. I say it's a mini episode. It's myself and Lucy who are chatting in a slightly longer conversation, a much longer conversation, where we were meeting the two new managers. So it was a chat with Steve Morrison from the men's first team and in with Lucy Clark from the women's first team. Lucy was kind enough to allow me to tag on this conversation to tie in with EFL's LGBT awareness fortnight or month. You would have seen it with the Puma Rainbow footballs. Some people know Lucy, some people won't, and but Lucy was very, very open and honest and answered my questions. Everyone knows I'm not professional, so the questions are what I thought people would want to ask. So there is enough in there for you to kind of learn a bit and hopefully encouraged to kind of read up a bit more or watch any of other interviews with Lucy, as I've mentioned in the clip. But yeah, hope you enjoy it. It is, as I say, comes in part way through the conversation. I'm not totally rude. There was introductions and thank yous and so on. So yeah, we're going to join in. We've been chatting for about sort of 40-ish minutes at this point. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Take care. Bye-bye. So to wrap this up, and the reason that I want to interview in a couple of weeks' time, give you a little chance to kind of get your feet under the table, get everything sorted. But you very kindly brought it forward and has kindly agreed to speak about a subject. It's the EFL's LGBT, I think, fortnight. I'm not 100% sure, but it's the Rainbow, not laces, balls they're doing this time, which is quite interesting. And you can already tell this is awkward for me because I'm spectacularly uninterested in people's genitalia, what they do with it, what they've got, not got. It's just like, why are you so interested in all these things? But me being uncomfortable is a small price to pay if it gets people kind of understanding a little bit. My main experience of Mike doesn't, and I mean this nicely, Mike doesn't care in so much as I'm not interested in people's lives, is there was someone at my work who transitioned just before COVID and hadn't seen them for about 2-3 years. And I came back to work and someone in the lift started talking to me, smiling. And I'm like, hell, you go away. I don't talk to people. It's Monday morning. Just leave me the hell alone. And only as we kind of reached my floor, they said, oh, how's the podcast going? And I'm like, who is this person? And then it just twigged who it was. So I sent a message going, oh, God, I'm so sorry. I'm really rude and the rest of it. And she came back later in the day and went, your response was the kindest, nicest response of anyone because everyone was like, oh, yeah, you look great and everything. And you were just clearly like, who the hell are you? Go away. So it's like, she was like, it clearly shows I look different to how I was before. So I think that's one of the first times Mike not caring in his favour. But I've got some questions and I really appreciate if you could answer them. I hope they're suitable. How do you see the importance of representation of just inclusivity in sport? And are there any kind of specific initiatives, I wish I could use these words, that you're passionate about including and promoting?
Yeah, I think it's the new one with the EFL with the football's great because again it just shows and people. I love how a rainbow can offend so many people. It's quite amusing, to be fair. Obviously, the Rainbow Laces campaign still goes. I think that's November, but it's important. Yeah, but it's important to have these days because there's lots and lots of LGBT people that are out there, lots and a lot that you wouldn't know. Because as you say, people, especially people's sexuality, none of most people's business. Obviously, being transgender is a bit different because you are changing on the outside as well. So you look, even though I don't look any different at the moment because I'm sitting here just doing a podcast and I'm in my tracksuit and my camera's making my face look very red. It's not. I've got loads of blusher on. I'm like I look like a tomato in the screen. Hopefully it doesn't come across like that to you. But it's important because we know, especially in the men's game, not so much the women's. Women in the women's game, they don't have to come out because lots are. There's lots of people in the women's game, and nobody cares. It's great. People just get on and enjoy the game for what it is. But in the men's game, gosh, anyone dare come out as being gay or bisexual or even trans is, everybody's up in absolute arms. And it's front page news, and it's it's just awful. The hate that people get just because of who they are, and it's sad that in sort of 2024, the world's there. So we do need that representation, and we do need to have these kind of days to sort of say, look, it's okay. People, you just have to look at my interview with Sutton. Anybody else had come in as being manager, there'd have been no issue, but because I was trans, it's suddenly the biggest thing for some people, and the hate's there, and a lot of people, especially when it comes to trans, they talk about fair play for women and save women's sports, but what they, it's nothing to do with it. So I'm a manager, I'm not playing. And it just shows that it's just their hatred for people that are transgender, which is really, really sad. It's a bit like it was for lesbian, gay and bi people in the 80s. And don't get me wrong, it's still bad for lesbian, gay and bi people in today's world. So we need that representation. People just need to go and live their lives. Doesn't matter what their gender is or their gender identity or their sexuality. This is football. Football should be loved by everyone. Playing football and sport is great for people's physical and mental health, so let's not deny people from being able to play the sport should they wish to. When it comes to trans people, I think there should be rules, and there are rules for all sports, and that's great, and I get that, and there should be. But I play golf. I'm a member of a golf club. I've never won a competition down there. Girls at my club are absolutely brilliant. I think the general actual thing is a lot of it. In the actual real world, it's not as bad. Don't get me wrong. Recently had a trans girl that was murdered, another one that was recently stabbed. People get beaten up because they're gay, lesbian, or bisexual, which is just horrific again in this day and age. But yeah, let's make the world a better place. And if we have these initiatives that say, look, you can come to football and you can enjoy football, and I know quite a few LGBT referees. There's quite a few out there. They don't all have to come out, and there's quite a few footballers that they shouldn't have to come out. But let's just show. It's just let's just show people that football is for everybody. And let's keep having these campaigns to show that it is. And hopefully one day, won't be in my lifetime, but one day you won't have to have these campaigns, and you won't have, nobody will care. A bit like in the women's game now, people can get up with it and have that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's just so much I don't understand. I mean, especially in football, and I'm hoping you understand this. We've already got a figure of eight. We've got a referee. We can all shout at the referee. We don't need to shout at each other. We can just give it. We get it all out there. But I mean, obviously I'm not a professional interviewer, so do forgive if he's wrong. But for idiots like me, how did you know that something was quote wrong and you had those feelings? I mean, we just plod through life and crack on with everything, and I just sort of wondering where did you kind of get that this isn't right, and how you came to that realization of what was wrong. I don't mean that it's done wrong, but why you want to change.
I'm still the same person. I knew that I wasn't in the correct gender from a very young age. Sadly, then, I didn't have the internet. So I just thought I was the only person in the world that felt like this, and I couldn't tell anyone because they'd all think I was absolutely mad. I mean, now it's great that these children, and there are lots of trans children out there, can search in the internet, can talk to people and have that, have these conversations. I knew from a very young age, but I just thought that I would try and just live in the gender that I was assigned, because that would be the easiest thing. And I've done it for many, many years, and teenage years were terrible. I don't want to make it all dark and horrible here, but, there was suicide attempts and thoughts. I used to stand on Balham House wanting to jump, but I always picked the side that overlooked Sutton United. So that kind of, probably good job.
So you didn't, yeah.
If I'd have gone the other side, I may well have gone. To be fair, and I look back at that and it was like, wow. But football for me saved my life, so I could. That's why I would always play football, watch football, football, because that was something I could do. And at that point, it didn't matter what was in my head. When you're on a football pitch, you forget everything that's going on. So for me, I always threw my life into football. And then I lived the double life because I thought nobody would accept me for many years. So I lived the double life. I would pretend to be this person that I wasn't to lots of people, but then, we go away and I'd be who I truly was, and didn't change didn't transition publicly for many years because I'm worried how everyone else would accept me, because as the old person, I never had any crap. I could, go down the shop, and no one would give me a second look. I could, manage a football team and no one would bat an eyelid. I could referee and no one would care. But as soon as I, came out to the world, suddenly it's a big thing, and you get all that hate. But it was like I had to, for my own mental health, I had to be true. I was going to give football up, and then I had a 2017-18 was going to be my last year refereeing. I was going to give it all up, and then I had a load of heart attacks, spent Christmas in hospital. That made me think, do you know what, sod it, I'm going to live my life as who I am, and I'm going to continue refereeing because it's football, something I love. Why should I give it up because of who I am? So that's when I decided to continue refereeing and come out to the world, if you like, because that's how it kind of happened, which is a bit mad. So yeah, obviously, life as the dead person, I always refer to myself as in that kind of tense, was a lot easier than it is now, but I'm a lot happier now, and I'm still here because I may not have been here to tell the story. It's hard. It's nowadays, as I say, it's easier. Had I been a teenager in this world, then I would have transitioned a lot younger. But going back to 1980 and whatever, there was. I just thought that if I told anyone what was going on in my head, they'd all think I was mad because it wasn't. There wasn't so many people around.
No, I mean, this is going to become a bit of a jumble, and I do apologise. I did kind of say, well, I mean, obviously, hate is is wrong anyway. But you mentioned what's happened to gay people in sort of the 80s, where people were literally being beaten up just for walking down the street. You also had alongside that blatant overt racism and all that hate and anger and angst. Now, there's always going to be morons, so you can't help that. But now most people are just accepting of people are different. So who knows? And hopefully the horrors that people have gone through will end up being one of those things that people look back on and go, did people really do that? I mean,
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
watch programs with the girls, and there's like films, and they're like, it was never like that, and you're like, no, I actually remember people saying things like that. I was talking to one of the players for Black History Month, and they were saying about some of the things that people used to say about, oh, you'll be cold in the winter, and I was like, oh my good lord, I actually remember people saying that, and being just accepted. So my little hope is, yes, obviously, I just like everyone, just be happy. If your happiness infringes on someone else's happiness, then you don't get the right to do that. But be happy in yourself, and let everyone else be happy. But my hope is it will stop, please. But
I'll
one of
keep
the other
smiling.
things,
So
yeah,
let them hate, because it makes me
Yeah.
laugh. They're wasting all their time and energy hating on me online, but it is online, because generally in the real world everyone's fine and everyone's just accepting, and just let you live, get on with your life. So
yeah. But one of the things that people get quite antsy on is the pronouns. Now I will admit, with the calling people they, I'm like, I really wish we'd have a new word, because they to me generally means a group or person unknown, or people unknown. So I'd like, if we could have a brand new pronoun for just generic, that would be wonderful. But how important, and you're not answering for everyone, so don't worry, but how important is if someone gets it wrong, but you can tell there's no intent? Does it make you cross, or does it just like be one of those?
No.
Yeah.
If there's no intent, people would deliberately misgender me online, because that's what they do.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but if I'm walking around the road like this and somebody refers to me as the wrong gender, then I'm not going to go mad at them. I will correct them, and every day I pick the phone up and I'll get misgendered. Okay, so I will correct people. And if there's no intent in that, then absolutely zero issue whatsoever. What I will say is, I use this analogy, is that the right word? With my dogs, right? I take my dogs walking. Oh, isn't she beautiful?
Yeah.
No, he's a he. Oh, isn't he beautiful? And they will just get dog's pronouns right, just like that. So if they can do it for a dog, they can do it for a human. If somebody tells you that they are he him, then they are he him. If somebody tells you that they are she her, they are she her. And if somebody tells you that they are they them, then they are they them. And just respect people's pronouns. It's not hard to do. Just you respect people's pronouns. It's easy.
Yeah, I mean, there was one, and you mentioned the phrase "dead," where I was in a conversation on Twitter, and someone was getting very, very cross that they transitioned sort of 6 months ago or 9 months ago, or whatever it was. It was a short period of time, and their grandmother was just getting it wrong all the time, and they were furious and fuming about it. And it was, people were saying, well, is she doing it on purpose? Oh no, she corrects herself, but I wish she just wouldn't. And then someone else went, hang on a minute, I transitioned at 35 years of age. My family knew me for 35 years. They're going to make mistakes. You've got to let them have a little bit more than a couple of months to get used to it. And this person was saying about their dead name, and this person came back and went, well, then let them mourn that person. So I was like, do you know what? As long as there's no intent and you learn from it, that's the important thing. I think people should be allowed to make mistakes, but as you said, as long as it's corrected upon on the next one.
People make mistakes. My mum used to make mistakes. Bless her. Up until she died. Mum would make mistakes because she knew this other person and had given me this other dodgy name. But she tried. As long as there's no intent, and if people generally do get it. And people that didn't know me previous are great, because they will get told my name's Lucy, and hi Lucy. Obviously people that have known me for many years knew my dead name, which is it is a dead name. There's it's not my passport, not on any of my driving license or any of my that's gone, dead. But yes, so people get used to it, and I've got friends that have known me for 40 plus years, and they get it right, and You know, they all know my name, and it might take a little while, and they might make mistakes in the first sort of few times they see me or speak to me, but they'll get it, and you know, most people are fine. So yeah.
So here's one I think you might like, and we're wrapping up. So, what are some misconceptions that you'd like to correct about transgenders?
About transgender people?
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Just pick one.
I will tell you this now. Nobody would choose to be transgender or say they are transgender unless they are. Okay, and I know thousands and thousands, and I genuinely thousands and thousands of trans people, and they are all trans. Nobody says that they're trans for any ulterior motive other than their head and their brain are telling them that they are. You know, they are the other. The thing is as well, you know, nowadays it's great because people are able to transition a lot younger, so the results for them are better. Trans men, you probably meet trans men every day of your life when you're out, and you wouldn't know because their results are generally brilliant. Their surgeries are horrific, but the results that they get are absolutely amazing. And trans women as well. You know, there's lots out there. You know, you wouldn't. There's some absolutely look totally and utterly amazing. Just let people live their lives. You know, their life isn't your life, so let them live their life. It doesn't concern you. And you know, just be happy and smile. We get one life in this world, so you know, why spend your life hating on something that doesn't concern you? You know?
There were. I mean, you mentioned your Twitter account and people following you, but some of the comments is like, oh, I can't. I just literally can't, and I just all credit to you for being so calm and everything, because I'm just like I can't continue reading this. I mean, some of them I did really feel like jumping in and I thought, you know what, I'm going to make this worse, so I don't think I should. And it was the one that the girl should watch out because you're in the changing room and you're really a man. As were the last two managers of Sutton United. If your point is true, the last two managers were men. So what? If your point was true, what difference does it make? But I was like, no, I can't quite phrase that correctly. So I was like, probably best. But yeah, so I mean, hopefully it's going to change, but it's one of those horrible, slow process. But things like this, and hopefully this conversation will make people maybe ask some questions and just get a little bit more open and honest. I've certainly learned a bit. And thank you ever so much. There are other interviews from Lucy from people who actually know what the hell they're asking, and people who are much better at it. So if you go to Lucy's Twitter account, you'll see various different ones. But thank you for humouring me and doing it. Best luck for the season. We will see you on Sunday.
Yeah,
and
fingers crossed.
We will hope that it all goes well. We're going to wrap up this episode of Sutton Podcast. As always, we appreciate everyone's attention. Do like, share, follow, all the rest of it on social medias. Thank you to our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin. Thank you to the guests, for Steve and for Lucy. And they've been very generous with giving up their free time. And thank you to the listeners. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Sutton Podcast. Goodbye.
United!